In this video, what I want to touch on is what Donald Trump stated. Once he's sworn in as president, he's going to change the school system around as far as what's currently going on in the schools. He's going to get rid of critical race theory. He's also going to get rid of indoctrinating kids. And I agree with him 100%.
Here is my plan to save American education, restore power to American parents. First, we will cut federal funding for any school or program pushing critical race theory, gender ideology, or other inappropriate racial, sexual, or political content onto our children. We're not going to allow it to happen. On day one, we will begin to find and remove the radical zealots and Marxists who have infiltrated the federal Department of Education. And that also includes others, and you know who you are, because we're not going to allow anybody to hurt our children. Joe Biden has given these lunatics unchecked power. I will have them fired and escorted from the building.
School should be about educating kids. School should be about teaching kids that, not to bully other people, not to disrespect people, not to disrespect your teachers, and education. That's what school should be about. It should not be about teaching little girls that can be boys or little boys that can be girls. It's not about allowing a student to change their name and then everyone is calling that student their name, but the parents doesn't know what's going on. Parents should always have control over what's going on with their child, because it's their child and it's their responsibility. That's what the parents are there to help guide the kids. When the parents send the students to school, it's for the school to educate the kids, to teach them math, reading, arithmetic, writing, different things like that as far as the school system, not indoctrinating them or giving them a narrow thought path. It's supposed to be to teach them how to think, not tell them what to think, but to teach them how to think, to teach them how to reason, to teach them to listen to both sides and use facts and information to come to a conclusion. That's what school is supposed to be about, teaching kids to be independent thinkers based on facts and true information, real information. Teachers are not supposed to infuse in a child what the teacher believes. The teacher is supposed to teach the student to be independent thinkers. And a lot of schools and a lot of teachers are forcing their thought process onto their child, which is wrong. And so I'm glad he is going to change that, because I did speak about the changes that Governor Ron DeSantis made in Florida, and I agree with that 100%. And so that's why I also agree with what Donald Trump is doing as far as that goes with the school system and with the students. Another change that I feel that Donald Trump should make when he becomes president and sworn in as president, he should look at, when it comes to kids, when it comes to foster care, when it comes to foster homes, when kids are put into foster homes and the foster parents and people actually adopting kids. A lot of times these facilities that are supposed to be there to help kids, they actually draw in predators, because predators know that the kids are in that situation because of something that may be going on at home. They may be getting physically abused at home. They're taken out of the home and put into the system. Or they may have parents that are just addicted to drugs, and because of their addiction, they cannot properly take care of their kids, so they're put into the system.
Deputy walking up to an anxious girl with a disjointed story.
Hi, what's going on?
Okay. I just ran away from home.
Okay.
And I live in a family of 15.
Okay.
My 2 little sisters right now are chained up.
They're chained up?
Yes,
Where are they chained up at?
on their bed. Now, mother didn't chain them up just to be mean. Okay. They're chained up because they stole mother's food.
Uh-huh.
But I'm sorry if I talk too much. Okay. I've never talked to anybody out there, so I've never been alone with a person, so this is very hard for me to talk. Okay.
How do your parents know you left your house?
No, they don't. So,
Do you take any medication?
what's medication?
Medication?
Yeah, what's medication?
Do you take pills? Do you take pills?
Oh, I don't
For-
think I've ever taken a pill before.
Okay.
Right, I haven't. But
The girl with the strange vocabulary nervously puts on a little hat, a reminder of one of her sisters who's depending on her.
our parents are abusive. They abuse us. But the reason I called and the reason I managed to get out here, this is one of the most scariest things I've ever done. I'm terrified. But I called because my two little sisters, they're chained up right now.
The deputy, a 9-year veteran of the force, is not sure what to make of this 17-year-old girl who looks so much younger. And then, on instinct, he asks a question.
Do you have pictures of that?
Yes, I can show you. I actually didn't have it, and then one of my sisters told me I need to get pictures.
You have pictures of your sisters chained up?
Yes, but they're here. I don't have proof of everything, but I have proof that my sisters are chained up. So see,
She doesn't seem to know the word bruised.
look at that. See, those are the places that make it on that. And see how dirty she is. We're so filthy. We don't take baths. We don't.
How did your sisters get like this?
Okay.
Your parents chained them up?
Yes, because they stole food.
Okay.
But they stole it because they were hungry.
Who took this picture?
I did. I took those pictures.
Okay. You make sure to save these, okay?
Okay, I will.
Don't get rid of those.
I will. I won't.
They looked very, very sad, malnourished. They were very pale.
But this morning, more than 4 years later, some of these same children are now suing their county and a private foster care agency who they say failed to protect them after law enforcement officers removed them from the nightmare that was their home. In a new lawsuit, attorneys for the 6 youngest children of the Turpin family say that the foster family, who was paid to raise them after they were rescued, was also abusive.
It's not only shocking, it should make everyone angry, because these children who were chained to their beds for a great majority of their life finally are freed, right? And then the county places them with ChildNet and puts them in another position where they are further abused.
ChildNet is a private foster care agency contracted by Riverside County east of Los Angeles. And in their lawsuit, the children say that the agency placed them in a home where they say the company knew that other foster care children who had spent time in that home had been abused. They accused the former foster parents and their daughter of hitting them in the face with sandals, pulling their hair, hitting them with a belt, and striking their heads. Some of them accused their former foster father of sexual abuse. And they say both foster parents would tell them that they were worthless and would encourage them to harm themselves.
And while the kids were being abused further, the county closed their eyes.
According to the attorneys, the abuse in the foster home went on for 3 years until one of the children was old enough to leave and then told this story to a social worker. The 3 former foster family members are now facing more than a dozen criminal charges, including child abuse, neglect, and sexual assault. They've pled not guilty.
So the system needs to be a safe place. The system do not have enough people to monitor these children, to keep up with these children. And a lot of times places that actually deal with kids and supposed to be helping grow kids up to be mature adults, to be independent thinkers, to go out into this world and be productive citizens. These are the places where there's less pay. The people who's working there are getting less pay, and they're overworked and they're understaffed. These are the places that should be getting higher pay, because you're dealing with kids that got all types of problems because of the things that they may have went through themselves, or because of the things they may have seen their parents go through. So they're dealing with a lot of mental stress and mental issues that needs to be dealt with, and they don't need to be put into a system that's going to abuse them. I talked about this when I was talking about how everyone is running around, even before the last election, how everyone's running around talking about, protect kids and vote no on abortion and abortion rights and different things like that, pro-life, pro-choice. And that's frustrated me because, okay, a person has a child, they don't want the child, so they put the child in the system. Now the child is in foster care. But who's advocating for those kids? It's a lot of people stand up and advocate for babies within the womb, but when these babies come out of the womb, no one's there to truly support them. No one's there to truly help them when they're going through a failed system. That is a failed system that should be there to help them. And like I said, a lot of times these places attract predators because they know they're dealing with troubled kids. And a lot of times, even if the kids speak up, there's no one there to listen to them, and there's no one there to help them or guide them or protect them. So that system is another system that needs to be overhauled. They need to go in and start cleaning that system out. Make sure you're doing background checks on the people, and not only the people that's within the system themselves, like working for CPS and other places that's supposed to protect kids when they're no longer in their own home with their parents. They need to be vetted, seriously vetted, to see who these people really are. They also need to check these homes that the kids are going into. Sometimes these people take these kids because they're getting a check, not because they care about the mental state of the child, not because they care about the health of the child. It's because they want a check and they want a slave. Because sometimes these people use these kids to do other things, to take care of the other kids that they're getting. They're getting so many kids in their home. They use the older kids to watch the younger kids. And these kids are not allowed to be kids. These kids are not allowed to grow up and be in a safe environment or have a quote unquote normal life. These kids go through hell sometimes in these foster homes and in the system that's supposed to be protecting them. So these people need to be vetted before they ever are allowed to take in one child. They need to be vetted, and they need to be checked up on a regular basis. They need to have pop-up visits. Don't always call them and say, hey, I'm coming over. Pop up to their house to really catch them in the moment with the kids, and also see how the kids are in the household themselves. Make sure these kids are getting the help that they need. A lot of times it doesn't happen. It's a failed system that needs to be fixed, and I pray to God that Donald Trump look into those systems and help these kids grow up to have a better life, to have a normal life, because they're already going through enough because they're no longer in the household with their parents. And a lot of times people don't understand that even if a child have a bad parent, they might have a parent that's addicted to drugs, an alcoholic, they still love their parents in that bonding way. They still would rather be in their household than in a foster home that's treating them bad. Because a lot of times, if it's a good foster home where they can thrive, where they can live, where they can be children, yeah, they would prefer that. But if their parent can get the help they need to be able to get their kids back, 9 times out of 10, the child would prefer to go back home to their parent. And that's the thing that comes with bonding. When a mother and a child bond at birth, that is something that goes on for their lifetime. And so this system is a broken system, but it needs to be fixed. And I pray that that's one of the things he, get under control right away. As soon as he get into office, that's one of the things I hope he focus on, along with the education. Because if you really look at what's going on, if you remember that song by Whitney Houston, "The Children Are Our Future," it is true. If you have broken kids, if you have uneducated kids, if you have miseducated kids, if you have anything that is not productive in a child, that's not allowing a child to be happy, to grow, to prosper, to be the person they can be the best human being they can be, you're going to raise people that eventually is going to be running the world. So you're going to have selfish people, you're going to have broken people, you're going to have miseducated people, you're going to have uneducated people, you're going to have all these people that's going to be running the world. They're going to be easily controlled, they're going to be easily manipulated, and they're going to be very emotional, and they're going to do things based off their emotion and not based off of truth and not based off the facts. So it's important that we do start with the kids and get them in positions where they can be the best that they can be when it comes to everything. So I feel that education, along with being in a safe environment, if they can't be at home with their parents, those go hand in hand. And I pray that he'd be able to get that system, to get someone to work on that system, look into that system, because it is a very broken system that needs to be fixed.
This case is one where the entire world was watching, and yet even in that situation, the county and ChildNet dropped the ball, which tells you, I think, pretty clearly what must be happening and what we've seen happen in other cases with kids who aren't famous, whose cases are not high profile, who nobody knows about.